Zach McMath at Yankee Stadium, and he's really just avoiding every combo.
The part that hurt me the most was somebody quote tweeted and just put brutal, and it was an RSL fan. And I was like, damn.
NYCFC against RSL. We got to talk about this because RSL came out to Yankee Stadium and they got a touchdown scored on them.
Bro, missed the field goal, but wow.
It happens. 6-0. This was a
walloping,
a drubbing.
A smashing.
Okay, this was RSL was a bunch of Lions trying to go into the sun, and it didn't work out for them. All right.
Hey, you don't know that yet. It could be an overwhelming force, much like Taty Castellanos is on your back line.
But no, we got 4 goals from Taty Castellanos and 2 goals from Thiago Andrade. Okay, I watched this game. Neither of us could make it to the game.
I watched it
though.
Oh wow! I did want it to get to 7, just to wipe away the 7-0
desperately.
That happened there previously.
And they took away the goal from Eber. Just brutal that they would do that because I didn't think that goal should have been taken away. But we have to discuss at least what happened to RSL in this game, because they just completely looked outmatched at pretty much every position. There were a couple early chances. Damir Kreilach had a pretty good chance early in the game, but bro, this was we know, and we've seen it plenty of times, that some teams go into Yankee Stadium, and NYCFC has the ability to make teams look really, really, really bad. Like they just don't know what they're doing. I don't know if maybe it's the size of the pitch, whatever. But
it's not just the short pitch. It's that NYCFC clearly has been developed to play in this short pitch, which is why we look so different at home versus everywhere else, because there's no other fields that are that small. That said, every once in a while, something happens where you're like, this isn't this team versus this team. This is this team versus a team who's just like, oh, our tactics didn't work out today.
We got it all literally from like minute 6. They were like, we got it all wrong. And you know what? There's not enough time to change anything.
Yeah. Oh, this way. I mean, you could have told us. It felt to me like, from the third goal on, where I was like, this is not NYCFC versus RSL. This is NYCFC padding their terrible goal differential numbers. And this is RSL saying, hey, man, we came out and look, something's wrong with the whip. You know what I mean?
We tried.
I'm going to try to go as far as I can with this race, but I ain't got it today. And like, even when the NYCFC lost 7-0 to the Rebels, I don't think that was a way of looking at the Rebels and saying you're 7-0 better than NYCFC. On this day, you came prepared and NYCFC couldn't get it together. That's exactly what this was. This usually is like one major thing was off and you attack that one thing over and over again versus, this club's tactics were better than yours. Hell no.
Yeah.
That was we didn't see RSL. We don't know who them boys were.
Yeah, it was a little difficult to make much sense of it outside of the fact that, especially since NYCFC lost in CCL and they gave it all, right? They were really trying to win that game. I think they scored all these goals because they were like, yo, is Stephen Fry's not here? Let's go nuts. But the level of play, I think, from Thiago was incredible. I do think
Santi in the middle.
Santi was incredible, yeah, especially not having Maxi Morales and still.
That's why I was so impressed with what he was able to do in the middle.
I got to give probably the most credit, I think, to Keaton Parks. Keaton Parks was absolutely stellar, and it's still like. You're not used to seeing a guy that tall be so nimble with the ball. I mean, he could, in my opinion, if he was better at like shooting from distance, he would remind me of like Paul Pogba. like very tall. I think Keaton Parks is taller than Paul Pogba. He might be.
See, I get a little more kind of like young Steven Gerrard vibes from him.
Okay.
Because you can move them around the pitch so much. I could see Keaton Parks. His favorite position to me feels like somewhere between a regista and like a central midfielder, where he kind of likes to see most of the park, but he likes to run up and get involved in the attack. But he does sort of like that late run.
Yeah.
He likes to sort of be like the guy who, like, I'll pass you the ball and then I'll make a movement in case you need me. I'll be here.
Yeah, he does he doesn't really do long passes that often. Like, that's not really his game, but he can get out of tight spaces and he just has that ability that you're used to seeing it from shorter players. That's just really the main thing. The fact that he's a central midfielder and taller than both center backs is pretty incredible. But right. he had an incredible game, and he also took the boot to the face that led to the penalty from Taty. So the dude, obviously risking it all out there. I also thought it was a bit of a mistake to not start him in the CCL match against Seattle, because he came in the second half. But I thought him instead of I didn't really understand the decision to start Cacha Acevedo in that position. I would assume maybe it has something to do, I don't know, injury or recovering from something or whatever. I don't know. It just it seemed like, especially
beginning of the season. Right. You got to tinker. You got to tinker a little bit.
But four goals for Taty Castellanos. This is
John Carl Tritt said the thing that was off was the groundskeeper's tape measure. Yeah, the pitch is exactly right to size. Thank you very much.
So 4 goals for Taty. It's the first time an NYCFC player has multiple hat tricks in their NYCFC career.
First time 4 goals have been scored at NYC for an NYCFC.
Right. So just to reflect on, because it feels like Taty will not be at NYCFC for too much longer. But what do you think this means for him? Because after those 4 goals, winning a Golden Boot, winning an MLS Cup, scoring the only goal for NYCFC in that MLS Cup final, will this? Because I also saw the rumor that Leeds United might be the future home for Taty in the summer. So, which would also be amazing that Jesse Marsch is getting an NYCFC player, which would be pretty.
2 NYCFC players.
Right. But does this make Taty Castellanos the greatest NYCFC player to ever put on that shirt?
That we developed, yeah. He'll have the best post NYCFC career of any NYCFC player.
Okay.
You can't take away. They may not want to bring up the name David Villa for obvious reasons, but if you just want to talk about footballing history and their record and there's, what they've done on the pitch, David Villa, Andrea Pirlo, and Frank Lampard are hard names to walk away from and say, you'll be greater.
But as far as in their time playing for NYCFC, well, I mean, look, the closest competitor to greatest NYCFC player would have to be David Villa, but realistically, Taty has accomplished more in an NYCFC shirt than David Villa did.
Yeah. If we're just talking about just them in the shirt, 100%. Taty Castellanos goes to the top of the list as the best player that NYCFC's ever had. Came from the CFG system. He came from Torque, Montevideo, or now called Montevideo City Torque, I believe. Right. Came from that CFG sort of scouting system. When he first got here, I didn't have a lot of confidence. He seemed like a very South American style striker, which was, I'm going to draw a lot more penalties. I'm going to draw a lot of fouls, but I'm going to have a lot of wide shots. And he's really turned himself into a sharpshooter.
Yeah, and he's more. I think he arrived more as a winger. And the more you've seen him develop, it's like, bro, this guy is built to be a striker. He's not the tallest dude. But he kind of reminds me a little bit. He could be like Tim Cahill a little bit. Like, how many headers does he score? It's mind-boggling for a dude that's.
He also just puts his body on the line every chance he gets. He's one of those guys that goes all out, which is why I thought he would play so well at West Ham.
Right.
Because that's exactly what those West Ham fans want. But again, same with Leeds. His physicality is perfect for Leeds.
Yeah.
That said, I think, you hope, who does NYCFC have as a backup in case this guy gets bought soon?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You would think Eber would step up and have the season he was having before he got injured. But that was I think that's on everybody's mind. But I think getting the 4 goals, also, you feel bad for Zach McMath, who's obviously not the regular starter for RSL, but his defenders were not helping him out.
I felt terrible posting that meme that we posted.
Right.
I'm sorry. I felt bad that you did that, Christian.
Pretty awful of me to do that.
Yeah, which I don't know if you saw. It was a training video where the guy's just trying to avoid the floating cones.
Yes, I did see it. I'll pull it up for everybody. But this is the tweet. Zach McMath at Yankee Stadium, and he's really just avoiding every cone.
The part that hurt me the most was somebody quote tweeted and just put brutal, and it was an RSL fan. And I was like, damn.
But RSL. They came in with the, they posted that video, posting a video of the banner of the championship banner, and they're zoomed into it and said like, oh wow, we found it. Obviously making fun of the MLS Cup banner for NYCFC, and hey, the tweet looks a little bit more ridiculous after a 6-0 victory.
Yeah, I see you look pretty closely at it. If not, you got a good idea as to why we won that trophy.
This is if you want to do the banter, just know that from time to time it could blow up in your face, and you gotta live with it. Everybody in MLS and NWSL, they all experience it, and if it's a risk you take, and if you win, it feels great. You can gloat, but when you lose, you gotta take that L gracefully, I guess.
Hurts. Also, you may have missed the massive back wall covering the entire outfield that says NYCFC 2021 MLS Cup champions.
They did.
Massive. So I know y'all looking for this little ass banner, but y'all seem to miss
right
the thing that covers the entire outfield.